So we all heard the rumor that Tarik Skubal might be available on the trade market this offseason. Skubal and the Tigers are apparently $200+ million away in contract negotiations for an extension. So it kind of feels like the Tigers might trade him this season. That's why I came up with 10 teams that I think are the most likely to trade for Tarik Skubal. I'll give you all the reasons why, all the players that the Tigers could be interested in, why the trade won't bring back nearly as much as you probably think despite how good Skubal is, and then also just a couple wildcard teams I'll throw in at the end as sneaky candidates. So if you guys do like what you're seeing over here, make sure to drop a like on the video. It really does help support, and subscribe to the channel for more baseball content. First up, let's just get it out of the way. The Los Angeles Dodgers are going to be involved. We don't have the heaviest of rumors right now because they're currently in the World Series, but I'm sure as soon as their season ends, the Dodgers are going to be going after Tarik Skubal very hard. Now, whether or not they win the World Series, I don't think it makes a difference. This team only cares about winning. They make tons of money. They have the prospect capital to go get Tarik Skubal. And if you're the Tigers, there's a lot of players in the minor leagues as well as the major leagues that you'd be interested in that I think they would move on from in order to get a guy like Tarik Skubal, especially, again, if you're not extending him. Skubal hitting free agency, he's not coming back to the Tigers. It just doesn't seem like that's a possibility. So, for the Dodgers, obviously I think the Tigers are going to want some sort of controllable pitching along with a legit hitting prospect. And the Dodgers definitely have that. I think pitching side, you're looking at Emmett Sheehan. While the minor leagues has guys like Jackson Ferris in it, I do think Emmett Sheehan fits what the Tigers are interested in more right now because the Tigers are still relatively in a win-now scenario in the AL Central. Sheehan would be a guy in that rotation for years and years with control, and he is very good. Where it gets really exciting is the hitters that the Dodgers have. Now, if they put in Josue DePaula, they're getting Tarik Skubal. I don't think anybody else that's really in this trade rumor mill for Tarik Skubal can offer as interesting as a prospect that makes sense to actually trade. So yes, if they trade DePaula, he's going to be a Los Angeles Dodger. They also have Zaire Hope, who looked fantastic this year. The exit velos, the behind-the-scenes stuff with him is phenomenal. And then Eduardo Quintero has been one of the biggest risers in the farm system this year in all of Major League Baseball. A real five-tool player, former catcher. Eduardo Quintero looks really good. So yeah, the Dodgers definitely have the pieces and the players to pull off this trade. It's just a matter of if someone comes in with a better offer. DePaula is kind of the trump card right now. Another team that's been heavily linked to the Tarik Skubal trade rumors is, of course, my favorite team, the New York Mets. They do not have a frontline starter. They're super excited with what they saw out of Nolan McLean, but everybody else kind of took a step back this year on the starting pitching side. Now, I don't think they'll be trading McLean, and the big reason is that Skubal is on an expiring contract. Even if he were to be traded to a team, there's a good chance he's hitting free agency. An extension is not guaranteed, especially as a Scott Boras client. So McLean won't be in the trade. That being said, the Mets do have other great prospects, and this is what I think also puts them in the top tier of teams that realistically could get Tarik Skubal. Jonah Tong. Jonah Tong's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. While at the major league level, he was not as effective as we hoped. There were kind of no expectations that he'd even be at the major league level this past season. Only had to because the Mets pitching was so bad. He's a fastball changeup guy, one of the most unique pitchers in the game, gets a ton of swing and miss, still needs to develop a breaking ball. That's the biggest concern with Jonah Tong right now. The other player that they have is Jet Williams. Jet Williams can play shortstop, second base, center field. He's a top 30 prospect in all of Major League Baseball according to Pipeline. The exit velos are great. He gets on base. He plays good defense. He's super fast. Jet Williams is one of the best prospects in baseball. I don't think Carson Benj is going. Again, for a one-year guy, it's just unlikely. And the reason I say that too is not just because it's the Mets, but looking at all of these teams, it is unlikely that any of their biggest prospects do get moved, guys who are considered in that top tier, because we saw Corbin Burns get moved a few years ago. The haul back was super underwhelming. DL Hall, Joey Ortiz. Skubal is better than where Corbin Burns was, but Corbin Burns was widely considered as one of the 5 best pitchers in baseball at the time when he got traded to the Orioles. Don't expect an insane haul back. It's not going to even rival Garrett Crochet, most likely. There's going to be good players on there. There's going to be top prospects, but I don't think you're going to see any of those guys inside the top 10, which is also why I mentioned if the Dodgers are crazy and want to move DePaula, he's theirs because he will probably be the best, highest rated prospect in one of these trades. Mets have a ton of other players in the farm system too, but truthfully, I think if Tong and Williams are traded for Tarik Skubal, I think the Tigers take that deal. Next up, we have the Boston Red Sox. This would be kind of sick, and it would be kind of a baller move by Craig Breslow. They moved on from Rafael Devers' big contract. They signed Garrett Crochet to the extension. Alex Bregman might be leaving in free agency at the time. We don't know if he's opting out or not. Probably is. And while this season was great, they could do better. And they have exactly what the Detroit Tigers would want. Controllable young pitching that's good, controllable young hitters that are good. On the pitching side, you have Peyton Tolle and Connolly Early, both who I think would be available in a trade for Tarik Skubal. Both are good pitching prospects, both are top pitching prospects, but for a Red Sox team who looks like they want to win now or at least win in the foreseeable future, Tarik Skubal is better than those guys. And for the Tigers, controllable pitchers who should be good. And then for hitting prospects, you have Jostin Sin Garcia, who has put up some crazy numbers. He's got a really lively bat, needs to kind of relax a little bit bit, be a little more patient, but still really good. Franklin Arias has been one of the highest risers in all of minor league baseball this year. They're doing the Red Sox thing where he made elite contact, they beefed up the bat speed, and now you're getting the exit velos. Also plays a premier position, shortstop, second base. Christian Campbell, while he stunk in the second month basically of his rookie season, he still does a lot of really good things that I bet you the Tigers would love to have on their roster. And then in more of a win now move, there are some interesting players that the Red Sox have that would help this Tigers team instantly. Jarren Duran being one of them. It was a down season for him. 114 OPS plus is still good, but it wasn't where he was last year. Jarren Duran would help this team a lot offensively. You also have Willie Abreu. It seems like one of those guys will be traded this offseason in what is a crowded Red Sox outfield, and both of them have a ton of control. They're not very expensive. Guys that I think the Tigers would be all over, and if the Red Sox get a guy like Tarik Skubal, there's a chance they find a way to make this trade work. So the Red Sox definitely one of the front runners in my opinion for going after Skubal. Let's talk about their division rival, the New York Yankees. I think the Yankees kind of have to be interested in Skubal, right? Garrett Cole coming back from a major injury. Rodon and Fried were good in the regular season, but couldn't really get it done in the postseason. The Yankees had an issue, and while they don't necessarily need Skubal, is not their biggest, brightest red alert, red flag, I think that they'd be willing to trade some prospects for. Get Tarik Skubal in the stadium, get him in the clubhouse, so you have a chance to win the World Series. Guys that could be available. George Lombard, glove first fielder, but he did show some signs in the lower levels that he could be a pretty good hitter at the major league level. You have Carlos LaGrange, who throws 103 miles an hour. The stuff looks crazy. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz has like a demon sinker. He's been really good in the minor leagues as well. You have Spencer Jones, who's an athletic freak. There is some swing and miss in his game, but again, controllable, high ceiling type player, a little bit of a lower floor. And even Ben Hess, who's done really well so far. The Yankees have prospects that can get this deal done. They would have to include, I think, more than some of these other teams, and I do think these other teams would just give more if that was the case. The Yankees don't have the best prospect package, but they're definitely going to be interested. Sneaky, I think the Philadelphia Phillies might be getting Tarik Skubal. I've kind of been thinking about this over the last few days, and I've convinced myself that Dave Dombrowski, who might be in the final year, I think if the Phillies don't win this year, or at least get really close to winning, I think he might be gone. The core is not going to be the same, losing out on some guys. This next season's kind of make or break for the Dave Dombrowski Phillies, and with Zach Wheeler being injured, not 100% sure how much he's going to be able to give you in 2026. The possibility of losing Ranger Suarez, bringing in Tarik Skubal, while it is another left-handed pitcher, could really push the Phillies over the top to beat a team like the Dodgers. And it's simple. Andrew Painter, Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford. A combination of those three guys, probably including Painter, gets this deal done, gets Tarik Skubal in Philadelphia, which is an absolute nightmare for me as a New York Mets fan and for everybody else who's not the Phillies. But I've been convincing myself, trying to get in Dave Dombrowski's brain, and I totally see him pushing in all the chips. That's it. If we don't make noise this year, I'm gone. So who cares what the farm system looks like? Do it all for the championship. That's kind of what Dombrowski does. Has the relationship with the Tigers, of course, from previously working there. I'm really starting to believe the Phillies might be a little more front runners for Tarik Skubal than I think a lot of the internet's giving him credit for. Let's get a little bit crazy here. A little intermission crazy hypothesis theory. The Orioles did it once before, like I mentioned with Corbin Burns. Can they do it again? Do they have the players? Now, if they want a Corbin Burns type return, the Orioles are in just as much as anybody. That's like Cade Povich and Dylan Beavers. We also know that in 2024, the Tigers had been scouting the Orioles minor leagues heavily. They were interested in guys like Jackson Holliday before. I'm sure they're interested in Basayo, maybe Kobe Mayo. There's a lot of really good young hitters in the Orioles org, not pitching. That's the problem. That's why it's a little bit hard to line these two teams up as to how it works. I think this is the least likely out of all the teams in today's video. I think the Orioles have the least chance, but they've done it before. They desperately need pitching. They could do it again, I think. They might have to give up some players that would make some other GMs a little more uncomfortable, or if for some reason the Tigers don't want better players, I don't know. The Orioles sucked last year. They can't do that again. Back to more realistic teams. I think the Seattle Mariners have to be considered. Absolutely loaded farm system with guys who are getting close to major league ready. Colt Emerson, one of the best prospects in baseball. Similarly, I think if he's included, they probably get the deal done. It might be too much, which sounds insane, but it's a pitcher on an expiring contract, and I doubt the Mariners would be able to keep him with how much money he's asking for. You have Lazaro Montes, who's one of the best power hitting prospects in baseball. Again, approaching the major league level probably in the next year. Harry Ford, already at the major league level, a top prospect. Ryan Sloan, people in the pitching world love him. Johnny Farmelo's been lighting up the Arizona Fall League, and you got Gerangelo Sainja, who is the switch pitcher, one of the most unique prospects in baseball. Prospect-wise, they can get it done. No problem. That's easy. What's really interesting to consider is, could they trade one of their more controllable starting pitchers for Tarik Skubal in a one-for-one swap? This is where I'm getting crazy, and feel free to yell at me in the comment section and tell me how stupid this is. Is it crazy to think that the Mariners would consider trading one of Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, or Bryce Miller for Tarik Skubal, and the Tigers would accept it? Tigers would get really good pitching with 1 to 2 more years of control, depending on who it is. Logan Gilbert would have 1 more year of control than Skubal, and George Kirby and Bryce Miller both have 2 years more. And for the Mariners, while you are trading, again, one of your your aces, one of your frontline guys, Skubal's just better. It's a risk, but maybe this is the risk that puts you over the top and gets you to the World Series next season. That's kind of where my brain works sometimes. It's a little sick in the head. It's a little insane. But that might be one of the more intriguing kind of MLB The Show-like trades, which never happen in real life. But maybe Jerry DiPoto, the craziest trade guy in baseball, maybe he could get it done. Keeping it in the AL West, we have the Houston Astros, kind of one of my least favorites to go after him, but still, the Astros are constantly trying to win. I think they're going to be extremely upset with the fact that they missed the postseason this year. I don't think they want to miss the postseason again. I don't think the ownership will allow that. While they've been weirdly cheap, I think they would be willing to give up some prospects or some major league ready pitchers for a guy like Tarik Skubal. They need someone else to pair up with Hunter Brown because Framber Valdez is gone. They need to fill in that role. Tarik Skubal could be that guy, and you throw him into this rotation again. This immediately becomes one of the best teams in the American League. There's also that AJ Hinch connection with the Astros. I know Hinch doesn't make the trades, but if he likes some of their prospects because maybe they were guys that he knew, heard of, guys that have been in the organization when he was there. I know it's been a minute, but there are still some players that were there from like 2020 with AJ Hinch. I know he didn't manage there, but he still kind of has his paws in the Astros organization. Not one of my favorite, not one of the strongest by any means. I don't even think they have like the best prospect package or even close. It's like Bryce Matthews, Miguel Ulloa, but I never count the Astros out. They've done it before with pitching. Two more teams, penultimate team. Now, the Ricketts are extremely cheap, but we saw them do this with Kyle Tucker. It didn't work. I mean, it did work. They made the playoffs. They made it to the NLDS, but they got knocked out. One of the main reasons why probably need a little better pitching. Maybe Tarik Skubal could be that next white left-handed starting pitcher in that rotation for the Cubs. And they definitely have the prospect capital on the hitting side, guys who are major league ready, with control, with some upside. I think they'd be willing to move on from them. And then pitching-wise, I don't think it's going to be like a Cade Horton, even though I think I'd consider that. I think you might be looking more at like a Jackson Wiggins on the pitching side of prospects that could be going over to Skubal trade. It's going to be weird because, again, the Cubs are seemingly not even going to go after Kyle Tucker competitively this offseason. It just doesn't seem like that's a match that's going to happen. But if they wanted to try it again, this time with a pitcher, I could see it being Tarik Skubal. There are a ton of other guys they could go after too that will probably cost them a lot less. But if the Cubs are serious about winning, which I'm not quite sure if they actually are because the Ricketts, again, are so cheap despite making tons of money, Tarik Skubal would help them immediately. And then the last and final team, which I do think is a dark horse candidate, but also maybe one of the favorites, I think the San Francisco Giants. Now, by no means do I think they will have one of the best packages at all, but the Giants have been uber aggressive on the trade market. They went and got Rafael Devers. They just got their new coach in Tony Vitello. Doesn't feel like the Giants have any interest in rebuilding. It seems like they want to win now. Like, imagine throwing Skubal into a rotation with Logan Webb, Robbie Ray. That's really good. And while none of these players jump off as incredible high ceiling guys like some of the previously named prospects or MLB ready players, I think they could go with a package that's more about volume, depth prospects, rather than the big names. Carson Whisenhunt, Hayden Birdsong, Landon Root. These are three controllable young pitchers that are seemingly going to be pretty good. I don't know if any of these guys will be aces, but I think at the worst, they're middle of the pack starting pitchers who can be very effective in Detroit. Again, with control. They also do have some exciting hitting prospects. Now, you're not touching Bryce Eldridge. There's absolutely no way that's happening. But they have Joswar Gonzalez, who's in the top 100 on MLB Pipeline. He is very far away. He's 18 years old, but the stuff looks really good for him. Plays a premier position at shortstop. I weirdly don't think they're going to trade Gavin Keelan, who they just drafted because Tony Vitello was his coach, and I feel like that's just not going to happen. Bo Davidson had a phenomenal year. He's been a big riser in a lot of prospect rankings. Dakota Jordan as well absolutely mashed this past season. Two guys who I think could be borderline top 100 prospects. I think you package a lot of these guys together, maybe give them 4 of these caliber players, and the Tigers, I think, would take that in a heartbeat. That's immense value for a guy you're not going to retain. That being said, you know what the best outcome is? The Tigers don't trade him. They have no reason to. They shouldn't. Even if you think you might not re-sign him, I think you got to play it out. You got to offer him more money, spend some money. He's the best pitcher in baseball, or if not, he's number 2 to Paul Skeens. Tarik Skubal's unbelievable. Pay the man. Don't trade him. This is stupid. As much as I want Tarik Skubal on the Mets, for the good of baseball, he should stay in Detroit. We need to see these mid-market teams keep their stars, and people are going to cry that salary cap would fix this, which it won't. You're just going to have these players getting paid less and still go to the teams that are the only ones looking to spend. Ultimately, this rumor, this idea that Tarik Skubal is going to get traded sucks. It's lame. I hate it. Tigers shouldn't trade him. Funny enough, the team that has the most interesting package back for Skubal would be the Tigers if they could trade for him. So riddle me that. This sucks. I'm sorry, Tigers fans. Hate to do this to you. You're not going to get back nearly as much as you think. If you do trade him, hopefully I'm wrong. But I think these are the 10 teams most likely to trade for Tarik Skubal. I'd love to know who you think trades for him down in the comment section below. Give me your Skubal predictions. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content. And follow me on all my social media. GiraffeNeckMarc, links are in the description, as well as a link to my second channel, The Windup, where we talk more baseball, me and my friend James. Go subscribe down there to that too. Otherwise, that's it. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. They're good content. I'm telling you, I made it. It's good. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.